Welcome to Christian Hedonism. This is the podcast where we will be talking about any and everything that relates to you ultimately finding joy and delight in God and in God alone. We hope and pray that this resource would be a useful resource and a blessing to you. Thank you for listening. Enjoy.
I think we have just created a new word in the dictionary.
Who's going to add it though?
Or a new term to describe
Yeah.
a particular group of people. And it's funny actually how we got to the word. Because what we're discussing today and stuff.
Yeah.
But we thought about imposter syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is basically somebody who is new at doing a group activity or new at an area of work,
Yeah.
and they feel like they don't belong there, even though they're more than capable of being a functioning member there.
Yeah.
But what we thought about is almost the opposite. So Oxford, Cambridge, Merriam-Webster,
At this.
hit us up, because we've just coined furniture syndrome.
Yeah. And what do you mean by furniture syndrome, really?
Okay, you guys know the saying, right? That I was just another piece of the furniture this holiday.
Yeah.
Right? It's that somebody blending into a group, but being a passive participant.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Who just likes the idea of being a part of the group. A groupie.
Yeah.
A groupie is actually a very accurate term for being a piece of the furniture.
Yeah.
Which is what we're going to be discussing today.
Yeah, and the significance of this term or the idea behind it is the fact that, because I was just discussing with my brother here that I've been feeling like I have having doubts about, am I truly a Christian, or have I been doing this Christianity thing because I've always been surrounded by Christians from a certain time to now. And I think that's a healthy thing to always look at, because you could be misleading yourself or fooling yourself. So you always have to consider, is this really my personal faith, or is this my group or social faith? Am I a Christian? Do I call myself a Christian because I'm surrounded by Christians and I know some pastors, and so I kind of have to behave in a certain line of actions, or all those kind of things, which I think is very healthy. And as we were thinking about these things, and as I was having these kind of questions, I asked myself, how many more people are having this? Yes, these thoughts come and go, but then what is it grounded on?
How do we actually deal with it? Am I really a Christian? It seems like that's what you're asking yourself. Is my
pretty
faith
much
genuine?
Yeah.
Because I've experienced it myself?
Yeah.
Or because I'm around a group of people who have the same faith that I say that I do?
Yeah.
And because of that, it's easier for me to fit in with them and just go together. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's that. And, in line with that thought, we thought of a story in the Old Testament about a king, Joash to be specific. So Joash was a king who became a king after his aunt killed all his brothers who were supposed to be the line of kingship on David's side. And this is after the split of the kingdom. Atalia is her name. Yeah. You can find the story in 2nd Chronicles, and I think also in 2nd Kings. So he was a good king, but because he was under the guidance of Jehoiada, who was a priest, who actually raised him when Atalia had killed everyone, because Jehoiada's wife had taken this kid and hid her in the temple, and she raised him. And when he was old enough to become the king, they made him king. But for the years that he was king, as long as it actually says in the text that he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord for all the days of Jehoiada the priest. But the moment Jehoiada the priest passed away, he just lost it. He lost his way. You know what I'm saying? So that idea, it was actually personal. Let me just make it personal again. Am I obeying God because there's a certain authority that I'm under? There's a certain accountability partner that I'm under, or there's a certain standard that I have to meet because of all the people around me? Or am I obeying God because of a genuine faith?
And don't get us confused, because we did express that it is good to have those people who are going to show you to God.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
But most importantly, you show yourself to God.
Yeah.
Right? Have you done the work? have I done? Never mind.
Let's not
Yeah,
make it second person. Let's make it
the
first
first
person.
person. You know, like,
Yeah.
have I brought myself to God? Have I shown up to Him where nobody else is showing up for me
Yeah.
or pushing me to show up?
Yeah.
And that's a very introspective thought to have, because it
Necessary. Yeah.
lays your heart down.
Yeah.
It opens it up, you know,
Yeah.
like, am I genuinely in this because I myself have tasted of God's goodness,
Yeah.
or because I've been around people who've tasted of His goodness and I'm just following them along.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's sad. I think it's very important that we do this as Christians regularly. And I think Paul kind of states the same idea. I just forgot where he was saying, you know, look at yourself, test yourself.
2 Corinthians chapter 13.
Yes, that, you know, like, so it's very important that we do that, because if we don't, we might be deceiving ourselves and thinking we're actually fine when we're not fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
just like everything else, this self-examination isn't just for the sake of, you know, ensuring that you are one of the people who have ticked the boxes, but we're thinking about enjoying God.
Yeah.
Again, you know.
Yeah.
So what are we learning about Jehoiada and Joash and their story, which is going to lead us to enjoy God?
Yeah, that's the question that you should keep in mind the whole of this podcast, right? So what does the Old Testament say about, like, you know, company or like walking with God? Is it a community thing, or?
Yeah. I mean, there's these two ideas of like just corporate worship, right, where God would deal with all of the Israelites.
Yeah.
Right. So for instance, where they have to go to the temple or to celebrate, you know, Passover or the Feast of Booths, whatever that is, those are all corporate celebrations of like what God would do for the Israelites as a nation. But then they also had the personal element of having to bring the sacrifices to the priest
By themselves.
or praying to God, you know, by themselves as well. So it's a double-sided thing where on the one hand it's you and this showcase community.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna bring yourself to God and be God's people. But on the other
Collectively,
hand, it's you yourself, your own personal devotion, right? I'm thinking of David, how he did both, right? He was like, they would go to war during the day and then go to the temple at night time. But when he sinned against God, he said, against you alone have I sinned. Me, purge me with hyssop, right?
Yeah.
So it's like those two elements, I believe, that like go hand in hand. But regarding Joash, like, what's the thing that he lacked?
The two, you know, that you just mentioned, I would argue that there's one that's super important than the other, and I'd say that it all starts with a personal conviction with God, like you know, that it kind of justifies the statement where God would say, not all Israel is of Israel. Like, yes, collectively you might seem like you're my people, but not all of you are literally my people. Not all of you have got a personal relationship with me, right? And I think that's the thing that Joash lacked. He just, because his heart, he didn't give God his whole heart, which I think would be parallel with the story of Ahaziah, which is a king that came after him in Second Chronicles, who did, it's like the exact same kind of pattern, you know, until he became established as king, he started this rebelling against God and whatever, and it does say that he obeyed God, but not with his whole heart, and I think that's the problem with Joash.
He wasn't like on the foundation or on the rock by himself. You know, like,
he just had his hand on the rock, I'd say, like, but being on the sand in a way. So like, I think that's the thing that we should personally avoid.
Correct. I mean, and it's better than like collective commitment towards God, because God is a personal God, you know. Like, God deals with us on a one-by-one level. Like, considering Noah and Abraham and Moses and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph,
all the patriarchs,
you know, all the patriarchs, God went to them individually and dealt with them individually. And then only after he was done with them did it become a corporate thing. Right? Like, Moses had to go to the wilderness for life
by himself
before he could lead people. Christ did the same thing before he could lead people. Paul did the same thing in Arabia before he could lead people as well. So we absolutely can't decide to be like public Christians without being personal ones beforehand. Because God sees. God knows. God knows our hearts. 100%.
So like, and I mean, it becomes a barrier really to you enjoying God if it's just a a corporate thing to you and not a personal thing, because
yeah.
you kind of miss out. Imagine there's this piece of cake, bro, that you love. I bet you're gonna have like, you're gonna enjoy it to some extent if you're eating with your friends. But if you have the opportunity for you to eat that cake by yourself, wouldn't you take that? I mean, like, of course you would.
2 a.m. in the morning.
You just wake up and go get the cake.
Black Forest cake, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
With the fridge open on a summer night.
Yeah. And you would eat it until like of course, like you'd be bored by it or whatever. The taste would be.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is
It's better
to enjoy God by yourself, and then the community just comes in to complement and strengthen that, you know.
Yeah, and it's adding fuel to already burning fire.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah. And like that's the idea that, and at least for me, I found great comfort in knowing that actually I do have a personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
And it's just that sometimes we do get lost into the idea of thinking it's dependent on the community, you know. And the other danger of not having a personal commitment or a personal relationship and a personal encounter with God, is that once the community is taken away, which sometimes it will be, then you fall. You know, just like Joash.
Yeah.
The minute that Jehoiada died, he started rebelling. As a matter of fact, he even went as far as killing Jehoiada's children.
Yeah.
Who were his literally family, bro, like stepbrothers and sisters. Like it was crazy. But
their lives,
it kind of shows you the extent to which this thing, how dangerous this thing really is.
It is, because you know, let's say that's you.
Yeah.
And that you're a piece of the furniture, basically, within your church. What's going to happen if your pastor or your group of friends become apostates? God forbid.
Yeah.
Right? Become apostates tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you going to leave with them?
Or they move really to like a different place, or you move to a different place. Are you going to still remain the same Christian you were, or are you going to live to the standards of whatever place you're in?
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and also another thing regarding why personal commitment is important, right? It's that because God is a personal God.
Yeah.
Right? God, just like the patriarchs, he wanted them one by one. He wants us
one by one
as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like the King of the universe.
Yeah.
Wants you
personally.
Wants me.
Yeah.
Right? To be devoted to him.
Yeah.
And committed to him, right? That's cosmic. Because you would think that God would just want us all
as a group. Like, I'm too
you
big for you alone. Come with your brothers.
Yeah, it's like, no, I will deal with all of you together individually. If that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, that brings comfort to me, knowing that God wants me. You know, like, why would you want me?
Yeah.
Like, out of all people,
yeah.
Want me? You want to hear about my day? You want me to be committed to you?
Yeah.
Right? And it's great knowing that, you know, number one, that's the best place for me to go anyway.
Yeah.
And also the fact that it's mind-blowing. Yeah, I'm supposed to be the one who wants him because he's gone.
Yeah.
Right? I'm supposed to be the one who's thinking,
but he starts by wanting you.
But he starts by wanting me first and then saying,
you can come.
Because you want me now, or because I want you, you're going to see how much.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
If you're struggling to enjoy God, perhaps think about that.
Yeah, maybe that could be the wall that's keeping you from enjoying God, because you're doing it with your friends, or like you only feel closer to God when you're having a Bible study with a certain person. Like it's the whole idea of feeding off of other people's spiritual lives. Basically, I only feel spiritual if I'm with this person because this person is mature, and that turns into like you feeding off of their spiritual life, but not having a personal relationship by yourself with God. Like when I'm with myself, I find it hard to read the Bible. When I'm with myself, I find it hard to pray. When I'm with myself, I just watch series or whatever you're doing.
There's a reason why it's harder to do those things by yourself than with other people. There has to be, right?
Yeah, there has to be, and this is probably it, that you're feeding off of other people. You're like a piece of furniture, you know. A couch by itself doesn't do the house any good. It needs other complementary furnitures in it, you know, to kind of make the room look good and function.
For it to be complete.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, like, have you fallen into the furniture syndrome? I hope this term is in your head right now. But there's a warning that goes with that, you know.
Yeah.
If you are a person who's feeding off of other people's spiritual lives, then you should take heed, because judgment is not going to be done on a group level, but it's going to be done on an individual level.
Yeah.
God is not going to say, hey, here's this person from that group who usually did Bible studies every Friday and Sunday. Okay, he's fine. He's part of the group. Come on, get in. All right. But no, he's going to say to you personally, if you've done well, if you've had a personal relationship with him and you've served him and was faithful to him, then he's going to say, well done to you personally, my good and faithful servant. Not well done, my good and faithful servants as a group, but it's an individual thing. So
correct.
Yeah.
And just to add on to this idea of God's judgment, right? Here's Jeremiah 17 verse 10. He says, I, the Lord, search the heart and test the mind, to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his deeds. So individually, all of us are gonna get like compensation of recompense, I suppose, in this instance, of what we've done with our lives. God is gonna deal with you individually. And also, you can't say to God someday, but Lord, I was with such and such a person. Or I was with these people. You said I should gather around your people. Who's gonna say, but you didn't gather around me, yourself. I wanted you. You personally, you. Instead of, well, not instead of, but more important than you and these other people. Right? So God is going to judge you by yourself. That God created you by yourself. You're going to die by yourself. God is going to judge you by yourself.
So enjoy God by yourself.
By yourself, ultimately. God comforts us for us to comfort other people. It's the same thing with like enjoying God in this instance, right? That I enjoy God by myself.
Then I can be able
I
to
can help
enjoy
people to enjoy God as well with the same enjoyment that God has given me and stuff.
Exactly.
So it's bigger than just me personally, right? Other people are involved.
But it starts with you.
It starts with me. The foundation is, have I been committed to God? And am I being satisfied with God as well? So
just in case you're wondering, I have found the answer to that question that I've asked myself, and the answer is yes. I do experience a personal relationship with God. I've just haven't been faithful in some instances, and I gotta repent from that, right? So then here's the moment of truth, really. What is the thing that you've gleaned from this discussion that we've had that's going to help you enjoy God even more? Like, personally, I'd say the fact that God connects with us on a personal level makes me, if that does not make you want him, brother, nothing will. Nothing will.
The King of the universe says, I want you. And you're not going to come.
That's ridiculous.
It sounds outrageous, but again, those are our hearts, right? We think that we can do more and know more and understand more than the King of the world. But
on that note, let's just leave it at that. You can just sit by yourself, really consider, are you the furniture?